Tyson McGuffin here. I'm on Cameo. Come on, send me a request. I'll take care of you.
What's going on? My name is Tyson McGuffin. Welcome to the McGuffin Show. We're on episode 33 here. It's a beautiful day in Coeur d'Alene. It's nice and sunny. Woke up this morning, saw my kids. I've been away from them for the last week or so, so it's been a little lonely on the road, even though I've been hanging out with this man. He's been, slumming it in my hotel room the last week or so. But we got a nice little session in this morning. Got some practice in at the new Selkirk Court. Love that place. And just happy to be home. K-Mac, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, man. Feeling good. It's nice to get a little session in. I know I'm not as nice as, being around your kids, but try to keep you a little company on the road. Separate beds.
Yeah,
separate beds.
Right. That actually got talked about yesterday at the camp.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about Kyle and I talking about something at night, and I probably mentioned that we were not sleeping in different beds, and the campers thought something more of it, if you know what I mean. And that's definitely not the case, okay?
There's always a little bit of humor in the camps,
yeah,
right?
There is. Come on, gotta keep it light, okay?
Gotta
keep it light. Yeah, it's been a crazy couple weeks. Cabo, or Phoenix, Cabo, Mesa, Minnesota. Doing a couple camps, Palm Springs, Valencia. So happy to be home.
Tyson slide into that kitchen right there. The veteran McGuffin finds the opening.
This pod episode, we're talking about PPA Mesa, PPA Minnesota, APP Punta Gorda. Simone back in the gold category. Come on, girl. K-Mac's honest review of the 002. And tell this guy to not be unrealistic. If he's going to try a paddle, give it a couple weeks. He's kind of known to be premature with his opinion on the paddle. And
practice what I preach a little
practice
bit,
what
right?
you preach,
right?
But he's very quick to put a new paddle down if he doesn't like it after like 20 minutes. I'm just kidding. After like a day or two.
Well, no, it's probably a lot like, changing paddles is probably a lot like making any kind of change in your game.
No,
right?
for sure.
The expectation shouldn't be that it gets better right away. Like normally, maybe some things are better right away, but some things are going to be different. It takes a little while to adjust to it. So
the road to success is it takes time.
It's not a straight line going up.
It's
right?
not. You got to give it a little time.
One step back.
Trust the process.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But anyhow, we're gonna make this guy a believer, and we're gonna get him popping backhand punches with that 002.
Boom.
If you know what I mean.
Send a message.
If you know what I mean.
Send a message.
Okay, so let's talk about PPA Mesa. Know it's a little late. It was a couple weeks ago. But I do know that I've been grinding away, as with this man, and so we are just now getting to it. But happy to say that Lolo and I made the mixed final. Lolo is a complete baller. Happy to play with her. She brings plenty of energy. Great girl. I don't believe she's had previous success in mixed, but she was able to really just be disciplined on the right, mix up her dinks, add different variety with her dinking spin. She was able to drop well. She countered well anytime a guy came at her. Talk about a two-hander that comes back in a hurry, baby. Come on. Talk about a two-hander that comes back in a hurry. I mean, anytime a guy came at her, she was able to slide to her non-dominant, find the two-hander. I could pinch middle. That is a winning formula in mix, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, and how much of a common theme is that lately, right?
No,
or
sure.
More the setup player, whether it's mixed or Collin's kind of doing something similar, playing with Ben. When you have a limited amount of court, you don't have to worry about countering with the forehand and the backhand. If you can trust your partner to be athletic enough to come over, pinch middle, you can simplify, what you need to do when you are attacked. And she put on a clinic.
She did. That's the new two-hander way. If you're on the right, slide to your dominant side, use that left arm, get some good extension, pop that baby back, and then have your partner on your left, pinch and slide middle.
The old slide and swat.
Yep, slide and swat. Anyhow, Lolo's my girl. I'm going to play some tournaments with her this year. I'm actually playing Riverbend with her next weekend. I'm super excited about that. And that Electrum paddle that she uses, she gets a lot of bite, she gets a lot of spin, she gets a lot of bite, and she can thump a forehand, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I've been a fan of her game for a while. I think a couple things just as an outside observer. I think she's a gamer. You know, she competes, she fights, gets a lot of shape on her dinks. Forehand rolls, always had a lot of shape. But one thing impressed me, and I don't know when she added this in, but it didn't seem like before when she was brought out wide, that she was able to slice it and kind of just that slice reset to the middle. She was still trying to shape it or surrender, going a little bit more flat. So it seemed like just higher percentage as far as off the ground.
Sure. Discipline
and,
and more of that mixed roll thought.
It's a big theme for people. I love to dink aggressive, but being balanced, having that ball in tunnels 2 or 3 really ups your percentages when you're trying to be aggressive on the stretch. It's just that's when dinks gets popped up. That's when you start missing in the net. So it's fun to watch you guys compete and battle, and hope to see you guys get after it again.
Little tip for viewers here: if you are going to use spin as you're dinking, make sure you have time, or make sure you have your slide, your stable, in the correct location. The ball's in yellow. Just like what K-Mac mentioned too, I know if I get pulled out of position and I'm on the right and I'm hitting a dink in zone 4, it is tough for me to really catch the outside edge of the ball. It's easy to really tuck my elbow in and you slice. So if you're being pulled out of position on the forehand side, you really can't get around it. You can't kiss the outside edge. Tuck that elbow in, ball in the armpit, lead with the pinky, and add a little slicer. Definitely much easier.
You have about as much feel as most people curling that back over. But if you even have to surrender sometimes and use the slice, it shows that we should all be doing it. Be willing to.
And maybe take that dink cross court, but towards your opponent's inside foot. Hit like a little push dink, or just look to direct that dink over to that inside foot. We all know there's added stirrup by dinking towards your opponent's inside feet. And if you don't know, K-Mac and I made a YouTube video. It's a little long, and literally it is all about inside foot dinking, tactics with dinking in the middle, making your opponents fight over that stuff. If you guys have not subscribed to the best YouTube channel in pickleball, do it right now. Do yourself a favor.
Sometimes there's an easier way.
Sometimes there's an easier way, Don't
overcomplicate.
There was plenty of inside foot talk over the last week. I'll tell you what, I'm actually a little sick of teaching right now. I mean, love teaching, but oh man, I'm a little burnt out, baby.
Well, it's next morning, couple back to back. It's a different role for me assisting, and I'm still losing my voice because I talk way too much. But when you're leading, it's definitely a lot more draining. You got to be more dialed and focused. And
for sure.
We need today. Today's our recovery day.
Today's our recovery day, and here we are. But yeah, so ended up taking silver in mixed, story of my life. Took silver in singles, story of my life, and took 4th with Jay. I got to tell you guys a funny story. We ended up, I don't know if it's funny, but we ended up staying like an hour away from Mesa in the middle of freaking nowhere. And Mesa, or the complex, was in the middle of nowhere. But we stayed like an hour away. We stayed next to like a cow farm. So literally, like my grandma lives in Enumclaw, Washington. And in Enumclaw, Washington, it smells like cow manure. In our little area that we were staying at in Phoenix, it literally just reeked of cow manure. And we had a pool in the backyard. We had kids and stuff. And the kids are trying to swim. Cow manure. We're an hour away from the venue. And to top it, so Monday morning, After Sunday I'd taken silver and silver, maybe had a little fight with my wife Sunday night because Daddy was a little cranky, if you know what I mean.
Crabby.
Oh yeah, Daddy was a little crabby. Ben didn't hear that. Anyhow, so get up for camp Monday morning, get in my minivan, and driving down the highway, and next thing I know, I get a flat tire. That's never happened at all.
How aggressive were you driving in that
Hey,
minivan?
I mean, I was already pissed off because I'm staying an hour away. I'm driving a minivan. Nothing against minivans.
Hey, no offense taken.
And I'm driving. I'm like 30 minutes away from the venue. Having my coffee. The sun's shining on me. Next thing I know, it sounds like somebody's like punching the back of the car. And I like turn around and I can see out of the mirror. I mean, literally, there's like shreds of tire shooting out the back. So I pull over, thinking about Collin. I mean, Kyle's teaching with me, Morgan's teaching with me, and then John's teaching with me. I'm like, you know what? Who's the most reliable? I mean, love K-Mac, but I would assume he may not have a rental car.
Hey, saving money, rocking the Uber.
John's
your bet.
No.
John's your bet.
Johnny likes his Hertz Gold, right?
Yeah. He's
he
in
likes,
the rewards
likes
program.
likes to tell us about
he's
it.
Thick, deep in that rewards program. Just ask him.
Called Johnny. I said, Johnny, okay, I'm in need of a ride, okay? I'm by exit 70. Come pick my ass up. John totally came and picked me up. We had to start camp like 30 minutes late. All good though. All good. But I mean, yeah, so beautiful venue, the Legacy facility.
Yep.
I thought every court was very accessible. It's easy to watch. For teaching purposes, it's easy to roam. I thought the PPA ran a great tournament. I liked the coverage structure on Championship Court. I played plenty of matches under that. And I played very well Thursday through Saturday. And then come Sunday, it was just not the case. But anyhow,
do you feel you played poorly in singles though?
Come on now. No, actually, yeah.
Honest analysis.
If you want to talk about this. So,
yeah.
So this was my first time, I mean, even getting a sniff of being halfway close to hanging with that man. It's true. I mean, I haven't sniffed it out for a while. I've been getting rolled left and right. I'll gladly say that. And I mean, done a couple of things with my serve, done a couple of things with my forehand drive. I haven't even touched the backhand because I feel like, hey, I can improve what I do well. Right. And so I've just been sharpening my tools and staying away from like improving the backhand. So I've been banging the serve a little higher, getting some more shape. I've shortened up the take back on my drive. All in all, the serve complements the drive. And I'm up 8-2 game 1. I'm up 8-2 game 4. I don't know how many game points I had game 1, but I had a couple. Benny ends up winning, 10-12 or 12-14 game 1. Game 2, I pickled them. Come on. That's my first time ever.
Made it look easy.
It's my first time ever pickling that man. And then game 3, Ben did Ben and woke up, won game 3. But anyhow, I should have won game 1, won game 2, 11-0. I'm actually up 3-0 in game 3. Game 4, I'm up 8-2. Tyson, seal the deal. Believe you can do it. And it's too bad, man. It's too bad. But anyhow, it was good for me to get over the hump. It was good for me to know that like I can still hang and I'm still there. I know that's weird to say, but it's true. The man is playing at a level that most people don't have, and he's a notch above everybody. And when you've lost to a man in a very consistent fashion for a long time, you just feel like you're climbing a mountain and it's very steep. And so it was nice to know that I'm there, and I'm not that far away. No, I'm not.
I think obviously it's disappointing to get silver, right? It's not what you're going for. And it's very disappointing to like feel like you let games slip away where you had the lead, right? And it's not the first time that's happened against Ben. He's a pressure player. But to me, just as an outside observer watching it, it felt like if there's a silver lining, kind of the blueprint of what it takes to get some points on him, to get some streaks going. It seemed like the style that you played, the tempo that you played, the variety that you implemented, definitely showed that if you try a little more, add just a little more variety, you find some holes, you find some gaps.
So, true. And
something to build off of.
For sure. And previously, I was probably going like 90-10, 90% drive to 10% drop in that particular match. Even though I've been working on the back end, I've just been more disciplined. I've been dropping better, probably because the paddle, I'm able to get better spin. Yep. But in that match, I was probably 70-30. So I think, just like what you mentioned, variety. Don't be the same Tyson. Don't be the same Tyson that loses every Sunday final in the same fashion. And if I'm going to lose, like what I preach, lose in a wide variety of ways, or
get creative.
Just don't lose the same way. You know what I mean? Anyhow, great tourney. K-Mac and I ran a camp on that Monday, Tuesday. We had 32 campers. K-Mac, Morgan Evans, John Sperling, Dream Team had a great time. Crushed it, and it was a little windy. I'm not gonna lie. God, that facility, there's no windscreens, and it's in the middle of freaking nowhere.
That's the only criticism, because it was awesome. I mean, other than even just the pickleball, just like walking through to get lunch. I mean, there's the volleyball tournament going on.
Right,
I mean, there's so much. I mean, it was kind of just cool as just a fan of sports in general. It's just this
hang out there,
enormous facility. So it's awesome that a place like that is open. But yeah, near the pickleball courts, it was windy for sure, and a lot of just kind of dirt parking lots. So some of that dust kind of got in, got a little dry. But
had to use K-Max chapstick.
Yeah. We're sharing chapstick over here.
Two things he does. He's got to use chapstick, and he'll lose his voice.
It's true. Almost every time without fail.
Okay, so taught the camp Monday, Tuesday evening. Crazy schedule. Got right to the airport after the camp. Got done with the camp at 3. Cruised to the airport. Met the family there. The family was obviously there in Mesa with me, and met the fam at the airport. Flew to Minneapolis. Got there at like midnight. Got a couple hours of sleep. Went to the facility Wednesday morning. Played some with Frankie. And to be honest, to be honest, usually Frank does not take games off me in singles. And he's usually my singles rat. We like to get there nice and early. Oh yeah, like to get there nice and early.
Couple of diehards.
Couple of singles junkies. Get 5 or 6 games in Monday. Get 6 games in Tuesday. Anyhow, so we played like 5 games. I won the first. He won 2 in a row after that. And to be honest, I was second guessing myself after he won 2 in a row, and then I won the next 2. I won 3, he won 2, but that was the Wednesday before. Right. And why I believe, he was playing well, but why I believe he was able to win 2 games was because the courts in Minnesota, it was indoors, it should be fast. Oh my gosh, it was like playing on clay with a jugs ball. And the ball just didn't go anywhere. I kid you not. Cat and mouse defense was totally enhanced. So like here Frankie is playing just stupid cat and mouse on that Wednesday, and I had no idea how to play with the court, that like the ball didn't come into me, and I'm having to like make adjustments going forward. Anyhow, all of his cat and mouse stuff was very dialed on that court surface, but it's a surface that they use at the Australian Open a couple years ago, and it helps the rubber ball like explode and bounce higher. So with racket technology and strings and using topspin for like a Rafa Nadal, like his forehand's gonna pop off the ground, right? But with the plastic ball, and it's not the case.
So you didn't feel like the top grab?
No, it didn't go anywhere, and it was so gritty.
Yep.
So it was super gritty. So the permanent courts that were there were slow, and then they built 2 championship courts and threw an extra layer down, and that layer literally felt like sand. The courts, like the 2 championship courts, like I played Frank on Wednesday on the permanent courts, which was pretty slow. Yep. I played him on Thursday on the championship court, which was even slower. I was second guessing myself in that semis, and obviously losing 2 games to him the previous day, and just talking to Frank about how defense is enhanced, and he feels he was telling me he's feeling super good, and anyhow, talk about a guy who's been doing it for so long. I've got mad respect for that man, and the guy works his ass off, but probably not as talented in doubles, but got to respect a singles guru who literally just loves it. The guy totally loves it. But anyhow, beat Frank in the semis. Actually, just like PPA Mesa beat Lung in 3 in the quarters, beat Jay in 3 in the semis, and then Minnesota beat Spence in 3, beat Frank in 3, and then cleaned Jay up on Sunday. Cleaned him up. Even though that is a tough one, honestly, like I'm not liking that. I don't like the idea of playing dubs with my guy on Saturday and then having to play him in a singles final on Sunday. It's not cool.
Yeah,
it's not cool at all.
Probably won't be the last time you guys play this
No,
year.
it's going to happen all year.
Totally,
it's going to happen all year. So easier said than done. But I was supposed to play mixed with Lolo in Minnesota, but she had a neck problem going on, and she wasn't able to play, so she didn't come. So I ended up playing men's with Jay. We ended up taking 5th, and then obviously played singles and did pretty well. But yeah, interesting with those courts, man. I kid you not. Very.
How would you? Obviously you're high level tennis. How would you compare like different surfaces, ball, slower, faster with tennis? Is it as extreme in your opinion as like going from hard court to clay, or? Because I know just, obviously I haven't been on the scene as long as you, but just getting used to West Coast play or indoor or Duraball.
No, for sure.
And then if you go, like I played the U.S. Open last year with the Franklin ball.
Yeah,
tactics are all over the place different.
For sure. Yeah, it was weird because Minnesota, it's indoors. There's no conditions, and so it's fast to a certain degree. But once it hits the ground, it literally like just sits up like a slice return. Usually slides and glides on that surface.
Sat right up in the strike
zone.
Sat
right up. So I felt like I had so much time when I was hitting third ball passes. You know what I mean? I could hold my loop longer, get them to kind of pause, pick my spots from there. I think the best way to describe it is I felt like I was playing on clay with a softer ball in like a humid climate where, the ball just didn't go anywhere. And I think too, like if you take a look at the doubles or take a look at the mixed, there was so many points being played at the kitchen line. Everybody was getting in. Everybody was getting established.
Everybody could
Defense
neutralize,
was enhanced. And then also, too, like the dinking seemed super aggressive. But why? Is because you're hitting push dinks off of push dinks. Because anytime you hit a push, it wasn't actually a push because it would just sit up. And literally like, yeah, so you had these super aggressive dinking battles going cross court. And it was like unrealistic. It totally was. No, it was.
Well, it throws the timing off,
It
too. 'Cause
does.
If you hit a push dink, normally, like, it's not going to get attacked if it bounces. But if it sits up, they may pull the trigger on like a weird ball, so you can throw your timing off.
Yeah, and it seemed like too there was so many bait balls, like there was so many balls sitting in front of you that like you're a bounce apex, and like you want to go.
You're thinking go.
Totally,
like,
yeah.
Dial it back.
Dial it back. Keep it in your pants.
Wait, yeah.
Premature ejaculation. But no, definitely an odd surface, and I've never like been in a dinking battle where I wasn't getting anything out of my aggressive dink. I wasn't really getting any gain, you know.
Right.
Yeah, they would just push back and then push and even
It really opens up the tactics.
Yeah,
all over the place.
Yeah,
At that point.
but I was definitely not a fan of the courts. I mean, I fell twice. I tried to slide. I tried to slide and literally like stopped and then rolled.
Just stumbled.
Yeah. Did you see Elise Jones like dive for that ball
I did not.
in the mixed match?
She just got after.
I mean, the
she's
girl.
She's a full-on
I
gamer.
swear she is just such a scrapper. But her and Megan were playing Lucy and Callie. It was in the semis, and it was just like this long 20 ball point, and Megan and Jones are like playing good defense, and they finally neutralize, come in. Lucy hits a lob over Jones's head. She runs back, literally like runs back and then dives for it.
Just lays out.
And rolls on the court. And the court literally is like sandpaper.
Yeah, that's
no,
just
sandpaper.
grab.
No, like when I fell, like I like tore up my elbow. Like I like tucked and rolled. She like literally scraped on the ground. Girl's a baller. I mean, honestly, if there's somebody who like deserves the effort award, is it Alice Jones? Alice.
It's spelled with
Alice Jones.
I think it's YCE. I don't know if it's
I
Alice or
saw her
Elise.
last tournament. She was happy that I had mentioned her on the podcast. I called her Alice last time. So
If she didn't correct you, then
believe
maybe we'll
that's
stick
right.
with it. Right?
Yeah, I believe that's right. Anyhow, super cool girl too. She's got kids. Talk about that Utah group, man. I mean, how many times am I going to lose to Chuck this year? But you know, I mean, Chuck, Spencer, Megan, Callie, Alice, goes on and on. You know, but
Shelton, Austin.
I mean, right.
yeah. I mean, there's a
For
lot
sure,
of really
for
high
sure.
level players in Utah.
Gridley.
Yeah, Gridley.
Oh, yeah.
Gridley. I mean, he's shown it wasn't a fluke, right?
Hey, come on, man. Guy's got
he's
game.
Got a bronze. He just got a bronze with Joey at one of the recent
No, for
APPs.
sure, for sure. Talk about a guy, and we've mentioned this. Talk about a guy who likes to hit push dinks towards inside feet, and then he creates from there, dinking aggressively towards the middle to get a gain, and then look to find some offense from there, whether it's out of the air or it's off the bounce. Take a look at, I think something we should talk about is PPA Mesa. So PPA Desert Ridge, Collin played well in that final. They probably should have won in 3. They had game points in game 2, ended up losing game 2, and they're actually down like 1-5 in game 3. They come back, win game 3, then win game 4. But Collin played exceptional in that match. And anytime the person on the left came at Collin probably won half the hand speed battles. Yep. Nothing against Collin. I think Collin's a stud. But in the PPA Mesa final, Collin was getting eaten up. And Collin was getting eaten up, and he was probably only winning, 20% of the battles, going head to head.
Mesa or Minnesota?
Mesa.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Mesa. And to be honest, Ben did Ben things. Ben slid Collin over, and Ben beat some of the best hands in the world by like aggressive dinking that was so consistent, that was so deep in the kitchen. And then from that, he was speeding up from low locations.
No, I know. That was...
And then beating guys head to head and beating Ryan Matt literally by himself. The guy is a stud, and he's playing at a level that I haven't seen him play at. And if you don't think he's gotten better in the last 6 months, the guy totally has.
Well, we've talked about this. It's very challenging to maximize your lean, flick on the full stretch, and then have the body control against those elite guys, Matt Wright, Riley. I mean, that thing's coming back in a hurry. To have the body control, to overextend, reach up, and still time that counter to get ahead in the point or stay ahead in the point is very, very difficult, certainly world class, and scary that he's feeling comfortable enough to initiate that early, that often having success with it.
Takes a lot of drops off of Collin's inside foot. He'll even I mean, and I think one area where Ben doesn't get credit is that his defense is locked in.
Yeah.
Like the offense is sick, but the defense it's automatic.
If he ever needs to use
it's
it,
it's automatic. No, it is dropping. I mean, he's using the thicker Franklin paddle, which probably helps him. But I mean, drops in transition. I mean, so even with him literally taking over at the kitchen line, and then them isolating him in transition, he still has an easy time coming up. Like he still doesn't feel pressure. It's one thing to like get isolated as you're in transition and take over at the kitchen line. I mean, you're basically seeing every ball. You are.
For sure.
You're doing things by yourself.
Obviously, Ben's almost in a different category because he's so elite. He can kind of choose what identity to be to some degree. But I would say at his core, starting out, more of a counterpuncher, very patient, trusting his hands. But you mentioned Gridley, who I would say has traditionally been more of a counterpuncher, more lift, dink, and then counter. Cassidy, I know you said you played him recently. It seems like these guys with elite hands are starting to realize
bring the heat more.
Go for a little bit more on the dink because even if you leave it up, you can just sit and slap because you do so well in those exchanges, or initiating and speeding up a little bit more often. Again, because the speed up isn't the big definer of what wins you the point. It's just trusting that you can use those elite clubby hands in a wide variety of ways. You don't just have to wait to kind of be acted upon and attacked. You can start to kind of flirt with a little bit more aggression.
For sure.
Because you can clean up your mess.
And we made this comparison as we were driving to LAX airport yesterday. Cassidy and Hewitt, right?
Yeah.
Cassidy used to be like Hewitt. He did.
You're right.
Lift dinks, shot selection wasn't as dialed. Use his hands and would crash in transition. Anyhow, it just wasn't all that calculated, right? Sure. But he really didn't have a whole lot of offense from the kitchen line. He was just a true counterattacker. Now, Cassidy's using that engaged pursuit, which we all know comes back pretty freaking hot.
Little cannon.
Oh, yeah. And not only is he dinking better, he's dinking more aggressively, and then he's using, he plays the right, uses his little backhand slice cross court, and then he's able to lean in and roll the backhand and then counter or clean from there.
On the next one.
Yeah, it's nice. But he's added a whole new element into his game, and it's all because he's leaning in. He's hitting an aggressive dink, and we all know that if you're going to dink aggressively, you got to lean aggressively. And he's looking to take more balls out of the air.
Giving him a chance against somebody of your level, right? Because you can sit in there and grind all day with him. You're not going to feel a whole lot of pressure.
Right.
You're calculated enough that you're only going to go when all the factors are met, right? But if he gives it back to you a little bit, gives him a better chance of making you feel pressure.
Totally.
Certainly the way that the game is going is, looking for more options to initiate earlier and sit on that big second one.
Right. Kudos, Cassidy.
Yep.
Robbie.
Making changes, and it shows.
Hey, short and shallow, baby.
Short and shallow.
Short and shallow. Find it, keep it.
You got to give the shallow some love. I use shallow all the time.
Rob Cassidy.
Heard that first.
K-Mac and I totally stole that from you. Teaching camps, Cassidy used to use the term shallow or short and shallow, And anyhow.
A little bit of that New York accent.
Oh, yeah.
Shallow.
Yeah.
Go shallow.
Love me some Cassidy. Yeah. Come on. The guy's a stud. Okay, APPPG. Actually, you know what? I gotta mention one thing about Minnesota. Crazy. This dude that was flying next to us from Phoenix to Minnesota, I felt terrible for him because he was in the window seat. I was in the aisle. Meg was in the middle. Meg had Banks. I had Mac. They cried the whole time. It was
the whole crew.
Just a disaster. I mean, literally, I was walking up and down the aisle probably half the time. I felt so bad. Anyhow, this guy really didn't say a whole lot till the end of the flight, and introduced myself and told him that I play pickleball and I'm a professional. Didn't really tell him who I was. I'm definitely not that guy. And he was like, I've got some buddies that play pickleball in Palm Springs. He's like, I'm just getting into it. And then we kind of left it at that. Crazy thing is that on Sunday, there's this dude sitting front row, and it's totally him. He had called his buddies and told his buddies who he met, and his buddies were like, hey, dude, that guy's pretty freaking good. So you should totally go and watch him in the finals. He totally showed up. I mean, I'd met this guy. I'd been talking to him for 5 minutes. He totally showed up, front row, had a great time, gave him a hug after the match. He was like super excited. He ended up staying all day and watched every final. And the guy is a diehard now. Yeah. Literally sent Emily a email, said he was like so like appreciative, changed his life. He loves pickle now. He got to watch it all day long. So cool, man.
There's been a few stories of people. I told you my brother-in-law, was around it,
right,
watched it, played a little, thought it was
Tell us about
kind
that.
of fun. Yeah. So
Chicago.
my wife's younger brother, all-around athlete, shortstop in high school, just one of those people that can pick up something and be pretty good at it. But my wife plays a lot. Her dad plays a lot. So he was definitely around it. Saw pickleball, knew that I was teaching full time and doing things on the pro scene. But take it or leave it, kind of. And then he came about a year and a half ago, visited us when we played the Chicago Open a while back, and was able to see Tyson, Riley, I think Ben and Adam played in the finals. But he was able to watch the game at the highest level, really appreciate the skill and the athleticism. He was hooked after that. Like, he's been playing, 3-4 days a week. Cool. He's like a 4-5 now, but yeah, just totally won over, all about it. But again, watching it on the live streams, watching it just in person at more of just a recreational level wasn't necessarily for him, but when he saw it at the highest levels in person, it's so much faster. Right. You can really appreciate, how great the level really is. So it's awesome with things changing on both the tours to give people that opportunity to really see it on a professional level more. It's only going to help the sport.
Camera angles are better, for sure.
Yeah, it's getting better, and that's what we all want.
Exactly,
for sure.
Exactly. Just use that kitchen cam, okay? I mean,
they should throw the kitchen cam.
Use the kitchen cam, okay? Yeah. Carl Schmidt may have been the first one to use the kitchen cam, but come on, jump on board. I mean, I think APP does a great job. I mean, the PPA they do a awesome job on Sunday, obviously, because they bring in the heavy hitters. Yeah. But got to give credit to APP, like that kitchen cam looking up. I mean, you can see the art in the spin. You can see the dinking. You can see the lean. It's just like
you can see the height of the ball.
Yeah,
right?
it's like this hyper-focused look.
Which attacks are a little ambitious, right?
For sure.
Versus which ones are calculated. So you get an appreciation for the strategy, appreciation for like the real story that's being told. It's a lot tougher when you're all the way back of getting a sense of, you just see, they attacked out of the air. They're supposed to, but if that ball's below your knees, it's maybe wait for another opportunity.
No, for sure.
I'm a big
Use
fan.
that kitchen cam.
Once the point neutralizes and gets into the patient game, if they could switch to that kitchen cam, I think it makes the viewing experience better.
Yeah. It is a little cold in here, by the way.
Can't see our breath yet. We're all right. We're all right.
But hey, one thing, nobody beats me 13 times in a row on Championship Sunday. Even though Ben was nowhere to be found, nobody, even if Ben played, it's not going to happen. Not 13 times in a row.
13.
No.
Never 13.
Okay. APPPG, we got some youngsters coming in. Dad here, and this dad is only getting older. Hopefully not having any more children. And it seems like the younger generation is just getting younger, and they're shining, and they totally shine.
They're showing they can play, they can hang, they can, go for it.
And Bright, J-Dub.
Gabriel Tardio.
Tardio.
Yep.
Guy looks like a toothpick, man. Looks like a toothpick.
There's a few juniors who are a mad game.
Totally.
Doesn't look like they've fully grown into their bodies yet, which is even scarier, because
I don't want to lose to that.
Once they do, it's only going to get better.
Yeah, right.
But
it's cool.
Yeah, shout out to some juniors. So Gabriel Tardio, third in singles, and that was a huge draw with a lot.
No.
Obviously, it's APP, so
that draw was more competitive than Minnesota, and I will gladly. I will gladly say that.
I mean, obviously there wasn't you and Jay.
No, for sure.
But I think Frank played both of them. Yeah, so Frank was in that. Where isn't
Frank? Tell the viewers
draw, right?
what Anton and Frank do. Tell them.
No, yeah, they'll sometimes when there's simultaneous tournaments, they're like, hey, I don't have to choose a team. It's not PPA or APP. It's both, baby. When you're in
it's just both singles events.
Both singles.
I'm not going to play doubles.
They'll travel a little extra and get after the singles.
But yeah, so he'll play singles on Thursday at an APP.
Dip out,
and then play singles on Sunday.
Singles at the PPA. Yeah, no, it's great.
Right. PPA Thursday, APP Sunday.
But yeah, so Gabriel beat Sherry. He beat a few more guys that were solid.
The Sherry Bear.
He beat about 4 guys in the top 20 or so, somewhere in that range.
Sherry Bear's gonna have a heart attack.
I believe he only lost to Zane. He lost to Zane twice, so not too shabby. I think he's 16, 17 years old. It's just one of many now. So there's him. There's William Sobek. There's Hayden Patrick Quinn.
Yep.
Wyatt Stone.
H-Dog.
Yeah. Obviously, Dylan and J-Dub has already kind of had their breakout last year a little bit.
Last year and a half, man.
But they're still under the age of 20, I believe. So there's a lot of teenage phenoms coming up. So I don't know, who do you like? Who's fast forward 5 years? Who's
Yeah. I mean, J-Dub, obviously.
For sure.
I mean, there's plenty of upside there. Actually, just saw a video of him doing some like ladder workouts in the sands. Looks like he's starting to up his off court, off court fitness or off court routine.
The scoreline, he beat Zane twice. Pretty handily. It was pretty lopsided. I think that's the second time. I could be wrong. Second tournament in a row where he's beaten
what's going
Zane.
on there?
I don't know how much of that's a matchup problem or how much of that is J-Dub just playing.
Because Zane didn't lose to him at all last year.
Well, I mean, I hate to say this because Zane's a lot more than the spin serve, but he doesn't get as much action, spinning with one hand as he does with two. So the chainsaw not having that full effect is a little bit of a factor, but Zane has plenty of game.
Sure,
I expect that to be a lot tighter going forward, but credit to J-Dub.
No, he's playing well.
Beating Zane a couple times in a day and beating him handily.
Carbon paddle is different too.
That's true.
J-Dub used the Franklin paddle all last year.
He's probably getting even more shape, even more dip on those big groundies.
Yeah, I got rolled at PPA Desert Ridge, lost in 3.
Did you feel like there was more?
Yeah,
more
I had beaten J-Dub the last couple times in singles, and the serve came in heavier. He was able to get the left hand around the backhand better, and
get a little more.
Yeah, he was getting more shape, getting more angle with the backhand drive or backhand drop.
I think with that two-hander, if you can get enough shape, you can almost always drive cross. And if that ball gets down a little bit, you don't even have to pass your opponent, but it keeps you alive in the point. Right, so it's kind of like a neutralizer.
But yeah, I mean, look in the future, it's tough to tell. But obviously, there's plenty of youth, and they're on their way. And it seems like a couple of them are homeschooled, which obviously gives them,
they can focus.
Yeah, they can
commit.
They can focus, fully commit. So it's cool to see. Ann Bright, double gold. She won singles. She won women's doubles. I did not watch the women's doubles final. I know you did. Please just run us through that and tell us how aggressive.
Report. And
tell us how aggressive that stuff was.
I watched after they won because I wanted to see how they won. And
sorry to say, Simone and Corinne beat him in the winners bracket final and then lost in the finals.
I cannot remember who they lost to originally. I don't know if it was Simone and Corinne. I almost want to say it was somebody else.
Okay.
But yeah, they won in the finals. They double dipped. They won pretty lopsided. And Ann Bright, yeah, she's a real deal. I don't think she's been playing that long. I heard somewhere in the range of 4 or 5 months. But it was kind of telling for the future of the sport because she was obviously knew how to drop a little. She could dink a little, but they were not long dink rallies. She would go cross with Simone. No more than about 2 or 3 times. She has a heavy roller, two-handed, a lot of bite,
uses the Electrum in the Invictus shape.
Lot of shape. But she was initiating. She was speeding up early. Honestly, it wasn't even all that calculated that often. It was from relatively low locations. She was off the line quite often, but
Water's way.
Her hands are fast. She takes those bigger cuts. Reminded me of her game a lot of Anna Lee, especially on the left.
It's a good person to follow,
Yeah. See how she succeeds. I would like to watch her play mixed a little bit more because generally speaking, you have to be a little more willing to grind in mixed because the male players have a little bit more thump on their counter punching in their hands. But not taking anything away from her, she's definitely looks like the future going forward.
Yeah. Kyle says usually the guy has some thump. Usually,
kaboom!
This guy's so humble.
I've experienced it once or twice. I've had some ill-advised speed ups come back.
No. But I mean, tip for the viewers there too. Okay, if you're able to beat your opponents head to head and you're eating them up, there's no need to dink. I mean, honestly, it doesn't have to be calculated, and if they take bait, then you can speed up at a higher pace and just go through them. But something to think about, if you're able to beat your opponents head to head, if they drop in front of you, don't be afraid to take a step back and use that step back fourth, kind of test them a little bit in transition. But if they're not able to beat you head to head, don't be afraid to look to speed up more.
It was crazy to me because it seemed like, obviously they could tell what was happening. They were driving and crashing. They were speeding up off the bounce in the kitchen game pretty early. Yep. So Simone, obviously great tactician, won everything. I thought that she would dink a little bit more aggressive. It looked like at times maybe even she did, and Ann was still able to speed up on some of those balls. So at one point, Simone just threw it out and kind of said, I'm going to
pull back.
I'm going to go uncalculated.
Right.
And so she just tried
trigger.
to pull the trigger early, and it was kind of interesting to see that
firefight.
Yeah, or just the tactics, where you almost had to throw the patient game out the window and just say who's going to go first and just kind of get their nose ahead in this rally.
Make it messy and see what happens.
Yeah,
baby.
it got a touch messy. It did. I don't blame them. I'd probably try the same thing if I'm in their shoes.
Yeah, and like we've mentioned this a couple times as well. Women's doubles honestly is probably more enjoyable than men's doubles. Yes, it's not as calculated, but there's more firefights. There's more transition from defense to offense. Male game, we're taking our sweet time. There's a lot of long, grueling, grinding, physical dinking points, waiting for the right ball. Last thing you want to do is pull and have that counter come screaming back in a hurry with some serious authority.
We get that question a lot at camps. Like, I watched the pro game. Like, it's so patient. Like, I had no idea. And it's like, they don't realize, like, obviously 4 players are capable of pulling some attacks, right? But the quality of the counter punching is so good.
No, the hands are getting
There's
better.
just the mutual respect, all around in some matchups.
Yeah, for sure. I think 2 areas that have definitely gotten better on the men's side. I mean, everybody's defense is great now. I feel like everybody's dropping well. Right. Everybody can hit lift and push things. So that area, and then just hands in general. You have to be a bit more selective on your speed ups. And maybe you have to hold your speed ups longer. But it seems like the counter attacker that is playing now, lets more balls go. Can like differentiate the block and the punch. But all in all, it just seems like if you're speeding up at the wrong time, that soccer ball comes screaming back in a hurry.
Men's game maybe misdirection matters a little bit more than the women's.
Yep.
Women's can kind of just kind of go through you or start those firefights earlier.
Sure.
Men's game,
some more
something to be
process.
said for kind of working the point, getting them moving one way, faking a little bit more. So I expect to see as the game gets bigger professional, I expect to see some more fancier attacks
for sure.
on the men's side.
I mean, obviously, as the hands get better, the disguise and the deception.
Yep. The way you find aggression is going to be more, I think, leaning towards that deception side than just raw power.
Yeah, it's going to be more aggressive dinking, and then either speeding up out of the air or maybe playing with your loop, holding your loop longer, but finding different ways to create and not
a little more action back here.
That's right. Hold. Get creative. There was 2 tennis guys ranked inside the top 250. I'm not going to mention their names, but they had some success. They ended up beating Young and Stone, DJ Young, Good Adam team. Stone, and then they made a nice little run in the main draw. I think they made like the quarters of the semis. But anyhow, very good team. Those guys look, I don't know how long they've been playing, don't know a lot about them, but seems like they have great hands. They've totally picked it up right away. I was telling K-Mac this. It's funny. Any pro tennis players that I've seen play pickle, they always end up scrambling or like playing tournaments in Florida. Like they always end up in Florida first. You know what I mean?
That's their hub.
Andre Eden,
right.
All these foreigners that like are just come off the tour. For some reason, they end up in Florida and they start playing pickle.
Well, they're all coming from Europe, right? They get all the way to Florida and they say that's enough. I don't need to go any further in the U.S.
That's it.
Florida's fine.
Stick me in the swamp.
Just camp out here.
Keep me away from the swamp. Okay. Collin and I were talking about. Where we want to retire and things like that. And we're talking about Florida, Palm Springs, Los Briles, Cabo. I'm definitely more West Coast, and I will always be a West Coast guy.
West Coast. Yeah. I like Florida. I'm not a huge humidity guy, so that'd be a tough pill to swallow long term for sure.
Yeah.
So a couple of mini droughts for some. At one point called the goats of the sport, Kyle, and Simone. Woo! Both
back on the board.
Got the monkey off their back. They got their gold, and obviously they've got a million golds. But
of course.
Credit to how good the level has got over the last year, 6 months or so.
Yep.
Simone was just able to get over the hump and mixed with Dylan, the APP, and then Kyle partnered with Dekel. I don't know if that was the first time they played together, or I haven't seen that partnership a lot.
I would like to know how that partnership works, but. But anyhow, no, I mean, obviously those guys played well together. Dekel's a beast. I mean, we all know Yates.
Yates when
he's playing well, the guy's a complete stud. And yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a recurring thing. I would assume Stone and Barr, with him signing with APP, playing the last couple of years.
They've had a good thing going for a long time.
Yeah. And obviously it didn't seem like Young and Stone meshed well together. Stone probably doesn't want to hear this, but Rafa had a nice little win in the back draw over Stone and Young. Probably
Rafa with Brendan Long.
I would assume that Adam Stone probably doesn't like losing to Rafa. But Rafa had a nice little run with Brendan Long.
Brendan Long. I think it's Long.
Long, okay. And they were like a match away from making the bronze.
Yeah.
Came in.
Well, I think Rafa's always been a bit of a matchup, kind of a weird matchup thing for Stone, where he rips and he crashes. There's not going to be as many of those long grindy points.
Tough for Stone to get comfortable.
Where Stone just kind of wears you down. Rafa's got enough variety where maybe that's an Achilles heel for Stone, who's normally the favorite.
Call that transition chaos. Okay, that's what it's called.
There's not a lot of resets.
Okay, most of the offense takes place either at the baseline or in transition, and then once he gets up, he's gonna beat you with hands.
Yeah, Rafa's reset is take one big step back and take a big cut out.
If these hands can't catch up, I don't know whose can.
Best quote of all time.
That came out of Rafa's mouth.
Best quote of all time.
On like a Saturday morning at 6:30. If these hands can't catch up to him, I don't know who's can.
It's funny how, on the male side, just shooting the bull with some of these guys, off the court, start talking about what they love about their games. And there's a few guys, and credit, they do have really fast hands, but something like the ego and the confidence is tied to the hands.
It's tied to the hands,
right? Something about winning that exchange and puffing your chest.
My sword is bigger than yours.
Right. There's a few guys that definitely feel like they have the fastest hands around. No. There can be only one. There can be only one. And that's probably Ben.
Who's got the larger sword?
I don't know. Up for debate.
Rafa, it's all love, buddy. And we actually had a conversation with Rafa a couple days ago as we were driving from Palm Springs to Valencia. The guy's doing well. He's cranking out 10-hour days. He's the head pro at Moore's Mills. Moore's Mills.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And he's really put that place on the map. I'm hearing a lot more. There's a lot more events going on.
For sure.
He's done really well.
He has. But he's the head pro at Moore's Mills Country Club in Alabama. He's doing junior stuff. He's coaching adults. He's traveling to Opelika, that covered structure. And looks like he's been coaching some of his women. So super happy for that guy. He lived with me for a couple months, loved him, but it was simpler that that he move and find a different spot. And he's doing very well for himself, and his kids are doing well. He just had a new baby boy. Baby boy's name's Rafa. And anyhow, love that man. He's always full of nonsense, but love him.
No, heart of gold.
Heart of gold, baby.
Guy.
No,
good
heart
guy.
of gold. Good guy.
High integrity guy for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Very high integrity. And he likes to put his cokes in his chiller.
Yeah, he's pushing those chillers a little bit down there.
What is that called again?
I think halftime chiller.
Halftime chiller. Take it to the court.
It's not a bad idea. I actually had a camper tell me, hey, tell Selkirk we need a cooler.
No,
right?
for sure.
Everybody wants to bring their drinks.
Right.
They want to support. So paddle manufacturers, make a cooler. No. That'll sell these days.
Kyle and I were joking at the hotel, and we were like, hey, dude, we should make a teaching seat where you sit on the halftime chiller. It's got a motor on the back. And you can pull out your drinks, and then as you're teaching, you just cruise around.
Just wheel that thing around. Have a little sunshade.
It's all good.
That's the life.
Get
right
your
there.
umbrella.
That's the life.
I mean, come on. Okay, back on topic. Dekel Bard, double gold at APP. Yep. Talk about the APP legend right now, and I would assume he's going to do it all year long. Will the APP survive next year? I have no idea. I personally think next gen and seniors makes sense for 2023 APP, but who knows? Who knows? I personally just don't think there's enough players to have two different tours, but I think APP, seniors, next gen, why the heck not?
But they're doing some things right.
No. I mean,
they're smart. I mean, there's obviously a market for both of those things, and so
it's kind of an
visionaries for the game going forward. But it does feel like there's a lot of tournaments. There's
literally
between the PPA and the APP, it's a lot.
Plantation going on this weekend. APP Punta Gorda. I mean, freaking jam packed.
When I'm recovering from teaching, there's always something to do. There's always something to watch. On the live stream.
Junkie over here.
Not complaining too much.
Man, quit watching live stream.
It does seem like there's a lot.
No, if you love watching pickleball,
we're in the heyday right now.
I mean, honestly,
we are in the heyday.
There is plenty right now, baby. And if you're not getting enough, subscribe to my YouTube channel right now. Okay, K-Mac, tell us your honest review of the 002. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So first time.
And know it's going to take time.
Right. It's going to take some time. So first day, playing competitively with it. Yeah, I mean, I can be honest. I got my butt kicked by Tyson, but that might not be specific to the paddle. I liked it. I really did. So what I liked about it, easy depth on the return. I liked it on the serve, but yeah, I would like to have a couple more times with it to really feel like I can get that depth and really dial that in. It's great for the hands. It cuts through the air faster. I've been using the Vanguard 2.0, which is a great paddle too. Right. There's definitely some, pros and cons.
It's got some added texture over the Vanguard Hybrid, correct?
It does, which it really upped it for me. So yeah, better for the serve return, definitely better for the hands. It flies quicker, cuts quicker through the air. Backhand punch is one of the best things about it. I was pleasantly surprised at how well I blocked with it. Most power paddles, when you accelerate through, it's great. But when you're trying to soften the ball or deaden it, it tends to float a little bit on you. I think this paddle is very true to your technique. Yeah. If you push through, it gives you that extra giddy up. If you hold still and just kind of let the ball meet the paddle, it deadens, but it felt very solid. Dinking is the toughest thing just because, when you're used to a certain amount of motion, you've got to, truth is you have to change your technique a little bit when you go to a new paddle, give it a little less, a little bit more. So with dinking, the sweet spot is certainly smaller than the Vanguard. I think that's the one area where you lose a little bit. But that being said, when I trusted my spin, when I went for my roll and just kind of trusted the motion and completed my shot, I felt like I was able to shape it very well. Toughest shot for me might have been third shot drop, especially when I tried to cut it. More of that like softer, liftier drop, sending it to float a little bit more. And like we talked about, sometimes just the basics, the tip down, flatter shot.
Lift and steer.
Where it looks like you have all the time in the world. You're like, hey, I don't need to add any spin here. Let's just get that in. Big target. Occasionally it has a little bit of giddy up as you're adding just a little bit of motion. But in general, I liked it. I think it's going to take me a couple of weeks to really get some of that touchy-feely stuff dialed in. And that's more program stuff where you're not just taking dinks out of the air, but you're counteracting spin, you're moving the ball, short angle, skinny singles against you. The court's half anyways. Sure. And you're, I think, elite in a lot of areas, but one of them for sure is not just your consistency with dinking, but you move the ball around as you're being consistent, better than most for sure. So it's going to be a tough matchup for me anyways, but that was where a few more errors came into my game. But in general, like especially compared to the power paddle, I think it's a step up from the previous power paddle of Selkirk. So I think they've done a really good job on it.
Nice. Yeah, it's something I noticed about Kyle's game is, with the Vanguard Hybrid or with the Vanguard 2.0, just with it being softer, like you kind of have to break your technique as you're punching.
Kind of have to add a little more.
Yeah, for sure. And something I've noticed with this is that my punch point, it's closer to my body. I don't have to go out and reach and like go get it. Why? Because it's so poppy. It's more of like a tennis volley. So Selkirk users out there, if you've made the transition from like a Vanguard Hybrid to the 002 or any, and I shouldn't say any, the 001 or the 002 Selkirk Lab, know that your technique and like your punch is going to be much shorter. Like if there was two imaginary balls here, let's say the first one's there and the second one's there, meet that second imaginary ball, but like keep your arm bent. You don't have to meet the third imaginary ball out there. But it just seems like, with a softer paddle, you kind of have to break your technique and do a lot more. With this, you can get plenty of easy pop just from here. And something I've noticed with the 002 is that my block is very similar to my punch. And my punch really, from like a distance standpoint, isn't that much further from my blocks.
Similar contact.
Yeah. And so when I'm 14 feet away, I'm much more efficient with my hands. I can block, I can punch. It just seems like I'm not caught overextending. I'm not caught cocking. I'm not trying to compensate by like getting a lot. There's plenty there. And so less is more is what I'm trying to say. Less is more. Honestly, like in all areas, as you're dinking, as you're dropping, you're probably gonna have to modify your technique, tuck the elbow in, but yeah, on that punch, shorten and feel like you don't need to meet that,
Well, and even
that third imaginary ball.
What lets even if I do stick this or hit it well out here, get some good pop, unless I get ahead in that point, I now have to cock back and then go again. So there's something to be said for staying at that second imaginary ball like you're talking about and just always being ready for the next one rather than, reaching back,
For sure.
extending. I mean, you can get away with that a little more when your opponents are at the baseline.
No, of course, right.
In those firefights, especially with the level of the pro game now, I mean, you're fighting for fractions of a second. Every little bit of your technique matters now. So it's nice to at least have something where I feel like, you know, obviously I'll have to change it, I'll have to modify it, where I can kind of get back into some better technique, where I'm not trying to reach back and give it everything I have when it's not the right moment for it.
And I think that kind of goes hand in hand. If you get too extended, it's natural. If the ball,
cock,
right, it's natural to like, so you break your technique here and then you break your technique by coming too far in versus, just staying in that little window. Easier said than done, obviously, when you feel like you don't have much time and the ball's coming at you. But something that we talk about in TM camps or KM camps is that you have more time than you think at the kitchen line. Think about keeping your hands in ready, staying home, not being so premature with your gas. And then when you are punching, keep that stuff short and tight. Okay. Easy does it.
Tuck that in. Short and tight's the answer.
Now we're bringing you some match analysis. This is TM Bullet Room, and it's sponsored by Selkirk TV. All right. Oh, man. 6-1. We got absolutely rolled in this mixed match. And I would assume Cooper, my content guy, obviously chopped this up and gave us his highlight. I would assume that he's probably going to show some points of me winning with Lolo, but to be honest, we got our ass kicked in this match. we totally did. Okay. Putting the return on AL.
Yeah, little stacking formation.
I think I actually just saw a highlight of this point. And, I don't know if I'm going to see it again. Actually, I think I actually won this point. Oh, nice. Come on.
Coming on over.
Make yourself useful, Tyson. Make yourself useful on the left. All right, we got the serve coming. Let's break this down here, K-Mac.
Let's do it.
AL's dropping to me.
Yeah.
Take a ball in yellow.
Go to her feet here. Going to roll this back over to Ben. Keep him honest out wide. Lauren correctly trying to take away that reset up the line, allowing you to clog the middle. And that's just high-level athleticism right there. But that's what it takes.
Something to, I think something that is necessary and mixed is just putting yourself in the middle, seeing a lifting, right? So I poke one at Anna Lee, right? Poke one at Anna Lee here, poke one at Ben. Ben gives me a lift. Okay.
At this point, you're able to dictate.
Yep. Even though Benny came at me, but I was able to put myself in the middle by kind of moving my fifth, hitting my fifth cross court. Ben looked to reset in the middle, sped up at me. Show that again.
Yeah, I think him hand checking you kind of is what won you the point here. You're able to get through that, and at that point, you're pretty in control.
Lift. And if you take a look at the counter here, talk about making contact by your body. I was jammed here. I was totally jammed.
You're able to get enough on it.
Something that I'm noticing is that when I just make contact closer to my body, I'm able to get my knuckles down and I'm able to just punch better and get that sucker down. And that is the end goal. Anytime you're punching, usually it comes down to who can get the ball down first. So watch here. Benny comes at me. I catch it late. It's into me. I get that sucker down. Floats. Make yourself useful. Little I formation. Clean up city. That was probably one of the few points that we won in this game, though.
It's funny, too, but I mean, even that anticipation, obviously Tyson's level of athleticism at the end is something we can't all do. But right after he hits that volley, he's leaning, he's following the direction of the ball because he knows that's the highest percentage of the angles that he needs to cover. Ben floats one a little bit, and again, it takes a special level of athleticism to hop the kitchen and put that away.
Okay, point number 2. Lolo looking great in that red dress, Came to play. Came to play.
Make a splash.
Came to play. Okay, she's driving. Using that two-hander. Use that two-hander.
Okay.
Cooper, thank you for showing me a few points that I won. I mean, talk about a generous man.
It's all the good ones.
Okay, so put the return on AL. Punch. Ben goes at her. She slides. She's able to get a little space. Talked about this earlier in the...
Ben's clog in the middle just like you were before.
Yeah, but talked about this earlier in the segment. Look at Lolo slide here. Boom. Yep. Boom. Yep.
With that first volley, what was going through your mind why you took that one at Ben? As he's coming in, you felt like you could get ahead in it because you clearly could have gone deeper to AL for that very first.
Yeah,
one, right?
and honestly, I mean, just like what I had mentioned, I'm trying to get him to lift in the middle,
Gotcha.
so I can start dictating and moving from there.
You can play one aggressive out wide.
Yeah,
you can dictate for the next few points, few shots.
Yeah, I can use my aggressive forehand and start hitting some push dinks if I can kind of force them to lift middle. Take a look here. Slide. Benny gets a little handcuffed.
Able to get down on that one. Not an easy shot.
Yep. The old AJ Kohler tip up. tip up.
Down.
Peck her down. Peck her up. Boom. 6 to midnight.
No, for sure. 6 to midnight.
Okay.
Good nickname for Kohler. 6 to midnight.
Okay. No comment after that. Bang that third. Okay. Drop. Low.
Sliding again, two-hander.
I think there's a couple elbows here.
It's all the good ones. All the good ones.
I
Hey,
mean,
how'd you guys lose this match?
I mean, come on now.
Jeez.
Okay. Let's see here. Show it again.
Okay, they're stacking.
Yeah, I'm taking that third, and honestly, I was taking a lot of thirds off of Lolo's inside foot, and I think most guys probably do that mixed. Now, if Lolo's very comfortable with banging her third ball drive with her two-hander, I would gladly get out of the way. So we're working ourselves up in transition, swing. I think Ben definitely hit an out ball.
Yeah,
AL hit one more out ball. Okay, I see Benny being a little greedy, looking to go again. I've got to make myself useful, be a dog in the middle, as with any guy that's playing mixed. Trust your stuff in the middle, pinch middle, but be as loud and as authoritative as you can in the middle.
Yeah, for sure. It's just a court positioning thing. I mean, you made Ben's target smaller. It floated just a little bit. You're able to get enough on the forehand to clock that thing and get it through.
Okay, same thing, taking the ball off of Lolo's inside foot. Get Benny. And prime example here. We're talking about why I want my fourth ball in the middle, whereas Ben right now, as he's hitting a fourth ball, or as he's hitting a six. Yeah, right. I mean,
straddling the center line.
I mean,
right?
That court positioning when a mixed team is playing makes sense when you're hitting a fourth and a six. Force your opponents to lift middle so you can start dictating from the middle. But if you take a look, Benny's court positioning is very good here. Looks like AL may have 1 foot outside the court. Lolo, get there. I mean, I can't believe the effort. I'm just kidding.
It's funny, too, because people always ask, obviously AL, she may be the best woman in the world right now, very close to it. And she's off just completely deferring, letting Ben do his thing. And, when you're in control like this, it's just allow these elite players to dictate and kind of build the pattern of the points. He's obviously very comfortable at knowing when to go for it, which shots are at his disposal. And it's not inappropriate for, as a team to just allow your partner when they're aggressive to kind of be the dictator. And sometimes when both people try to dictate, neither person's fully comfortable. So it's just allowing Ben to be comfortable and kind of do his thing, and he ends up finishing with a fancier shot than normal, but certainly gives you options.
Hold.
Big old backswing
and
the
oh gosh, kiss of death, kiss of death.
If you actually look at slow-mo too, right when that ball was played and he's starting his hold, you were actually inside the court ready to half volley, right? Yeah. But the bigger the backswing got, he actually got you to take a full step back.
Benny, and then that's the first time that's ever happened, by the way. That's the first time.
And that's
You're not going to get me again.
He's not stepping back anymore.
But looks like Lolo and I were trying to play some good discipline D.
For sure.
And, I take that ball off her inside foot, get my third down, use a nice little rolly drop. Here's where it gets tricky. Okay? And honestly, one thing that I did exceptionally well on Friday in mix was be a dog in the middle when we were taking, when we just hit a return and I was hitting a fourth and a sixth and an eighth. I put so much pressure on the girls and just on our opponents by speeding up off the bounce, but just being loud and big in the middle, and more so on the return with our fourth and our sixth and our eighth. And Yeah, just making them feel traffic. Yep. And when they feel traffic, their drop consistency goes down. They start second guessing their drop, but there's nothing more frustrating than not being able to get established. You know what I mean? And as you see here, and honestly, the main pressure in this match was not being able to freaking get up. It was true. Benny did such a good job of pushing us around, being aggressive with his fourth. Couldn't get in.
I mean, you played a reset here, and that's the right shot. But you'll notice here, there's just a little bit of air under it, and now he's able to continue to dictate.
Yeah, here we are. Once again.
You're diving all over.
Back to the grind.
Half volley, half volley.
Yeah, and this is where 002, I mean, obviously me being on Ben's side, but this is where 002 has helped me is when I'm being aggressive with my fourth and my sixth, or if I have high balls, I mean, this thing is like a one ball put away. For sure. You know, it gives you freedom to swing. You can get easy pop. You can roll it off the court. You can use the grit, really yank it off the court. It's nice to have a poppy paddle.
Well, we talked about how much better is the defense getting
right?
everywhere, right?
For sure. So if you don't have some thump.
Something to finally finish the point, it can get very discouraging out there.
No, it's true. It's true. Here we go. Score is currently 3-9. Here I am again, being a ball hog, taking a third off her inside foot. What's Benny doing again?
Yeah, he's just saying an aggressive fourth to you, making you reset, and then allowing that extra lift to give him the time to dictate.
Speed up.
Line.
Got that thing down. Here's a little side angle. This is what we need. Huh? That thing. Oh, no. I honestly think this thing may have been going out. Again, Benny comes at me. So Benny comes at me. My hands are late getting up. Benny comes at me. Again. Benny comes at me. My hands are late getting up.
Yeah, you got a little.
No.
It looked like you couldn't decide between block and punch.
No. It got on me quick. Usually, when the ball gets on you quick up here and you start compensating with your wrist, I mean, if your technique breaks down, that thing is probably going through you. One thing that I like to talk about during camps is most people think that their hands are slow. You know, like when they've sped up and a counter comes back and the counter comes back high, and their hands are late to getting up for the recounter. Is your hand slow, or to be honest, are you just hitting out balls? Usually, it's people are just hitting out balls.
Might have saved him on that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna blame it on the out ball.
Why not? I do think though, just the pressure from him though. I mean, if there was a flash of thinking counterpunch in your mind at the last second, it's probably because you've reset several, and
I don't want to reset again.
And he's continued to dictate.
No, right.
So a certain amount
of
you is like, hey, I got to take control back in this point. So it forces you to go for more uncomfortable shots.
And just like what K-Mac mentioned here, in order to not be bullied, and we talk about this during camps, in order to not be bullied during camps, or in order to not be bullied just in general, if you're having a hard time coming in and like your opponent's being aggressive with their fourth and their sixth and their eighth, if you're only blocking and you don't make them second guess, or you don't make them pay or swing a little bit, you're going to continue feeling traffic. The only way to feel like a little lighter traffic is by swinging, or either finding a different golden ticket, or hitting a drop in more of like a hybrid version where it gets down and they have to surrender, so they can't be aggressive off the bounce, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, even I would say a couple of years ago when you and I would drill and you got one person back in transition working on their blocks, we would just go block, block, block. But now there's really value in doing 2 or 3 blocks and then trying to just swing on one, because it changes the perspective and the tempo so much for the person up feeling like they're in control. Like you said, sometimes that change of pace is the difference in them surrendering and actually being able to get to neutral, which is the goal.
Okay. Principle here, if you're feeling traffic and they're being aggressive and the tendency is to just keep playing safe, go the other route. Swing a little bit, make them pay. If you're feeling exactly.
Change up the tempo.
Change up the tempo. I like it. Speed up. And I mean, look at the stupid hands. My God. Hang on real quick. So I get this thing down, right? So she goes line. I get her down. Benny gets one. I go right at Benny. He finds a forehand. Slides. Finds one more. Pinch middle. I mean, for God's sakes, just get out of the middle. Get out of there. Get out of there.
Scary. I mean, you
slide to your left.
You jammed him pretty good on one, but he was still able to keep that elbow tucked in and get that ball down.
Next level hands. When you slide to your non-dominant to find a forehand, and then you're losing the battle, and then you're able to slide to your dominant side and find a ball from yellow. I mean, it's just pure offense. Just pure offense.
Yeah, no, scary.
But he's finding space and punching back from low locations. Give me a call and tell me how to beat him. Give me a call. Come on. Give me a call.
We're up for some, creative answers.
I'm just kidding. Okay, I don't want to watch that. I mean, come on. I don't want to watch that again. Benny, stop. Okay, I just put my hands down. Okay, I've got it.
Surrender.
Okay.
I surrender. Too much.
I don't want any more. Okay, so this is 0-2, game 2. Oh, stop. Yeah. You stop. Stay on your side of the court. Okay, a little bird action with some flex. Jeez. I see you over there. I see you.
Yeah, guys are going to the old Burt play.
Burt!
Much more frequently.
Well, it looks like
they
he's
used
pretty
to.
comfortable here. Usually if a guy goes to the burp, he's seeing the ball like the size of a watermelon.
Yeah, he's playing the score a little bit.
Lolo, yours.
Won the first game.
Lolo,
handily,
yours.
Rolling in the second.
Right. That was definitely not Lolo, so I got to keep my fourth down. Lolo, right here.
Get there.
Okay, we'll watch this. Yeah, so hybrid drop. Hybrid. Yep. Tip down lift. Poke. Burt.
Scary. I mean, you didn't even pop it up that much. I mean, he still
Stay
had to
on your
hit that
side.
a little lower than the net, seems like.
Yeah, this defense is stupid.
Working your way in.
Okay, get me in the middle. Get me moving. Yeah.
So was that a theme with Annalie? Was she being pretty bold and testing you, keeping you honest on your line? It seems like she's been speeding up a bit.
Well, this whole
back
match was
behind
just
you.
pure offense. It was pure offense. Yep. And to be honest, yeah, she's probably hitting like 1 or 2 dinks and then just going line. And I mean, she's going line. Even as we just saw, she went line. I got the punch
it down, right.
and we still lost a point.
Right.
So, if I were them, I would continue going back to Old Faithful. I mean, literally.
Go early, yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, I'm going to watch this again. No spin whatsoever.
Totally flat,
None. Popped up drop. Sick D.
Yeah, pretty dang good.
Okay, put that stupid backhand punch away. Hey. Speed up.
How far he's coming over. Dictating with that roll volley.
Yeah, and
forcing you guys to hit up.
No, for sure. And if you see here too, so she sped up line. Yeah, so so she goes line. Okay, I sit and pinch.
Get it down.
And then she squeezes backhand. Middle, low. And here's what's tough, right?
Yep.
So I'm sitting line because she's gone line how many freaking times?
Right.
I'm sitting line, and that's where speeding up line, makes sense because the counter usually comes right back, and if you speed up line enough and your partner, or I guess your opponent's partner doesn't slide middle, then there's room to re-counter with putting one in the middle.
Yeah, and as we're watching this, not criticizing Lauren at all, but kind of the moment that you slid to cover line.
Yeah.
And you've been taking the whole court, but if she would have taken one more half step over,
right.
she could have taken this next one a lot earlier.
Yeah.
You'll see her left leg, she has to take a diagonal step, which means she's taking the ball lower, allowing the other team to stay in control a little bit longer. But right here, when Tyson slides, if Lauren can take that little half step with him and then be leaning and jumping, but she kind of steps backwards, looks like you guys were a little bit in control, but the moment that diagonal step happens, now you guys are on your heels. Control switched over, and there you go. Could we actually rewind to the start of the point one more time? I just want to show one thing. So one thing that we talk about with defense here, because Tyson and Lauren are definitely on offense right here. This is the ball. Annalie decides to speed up rather than keep lifting or keep defending. So Tyson clocks it, but the ball sits up. She goes with the drive, now the drop. So sometimes on defense, if you get your feet set, you can actually rip one in order to make that next volley just a little bit more defensive and do that delayed kind of drive drop combo as a way to neutralize. So sometimes when your opponents are dictating, it's tough to just lift and get that perfect trajectory to be able to gain space in. If you have your feet set, a calculated drive drop combo is a great way to add variety to your defense.
Right. Tip for the viewers, drive yourself out of D once you feel like the overhead or the high ball doesn't come back as much pace.
And if your feet are set.
Slide, bang away, If that drive can enhance your next ball, why the heck not?
Yeah,
why the heck not? And enhance meaning that it's a short volley, just like what K-Mac mentioned. If you find that it's a short volley or a defensive volley, use it. And I would use that as ammo and know that maybe that could be the person that you should drive to. If they really can't hurt you with the volley, or if their volley isn't deep enough, then maybe that is your golden ticket. Drive there, force them to volley short, dump your next one, and then come in. Something that we talked about at camps is find your golden ticket on the drop to the person that's less aggressive, and drive to the person, or find your golden ticket on the drive as well by driving to the person that can't hurt you with the volley, or maybe is playing with the paddle that's a little softer, or simply doesn't like their hands, or it feels like when you drive, their volley doesn't sting you. It doesn't get past the transition zone. If that's the case and you're playing D, that's the person to drive to.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see here. AL was speeding up off of Lolo hit like a pretty aggressive, rolly forehand dink, but it kind of sat up a little bit. Something to mention too, AL scoots back, and with her scooting back, she can, if a push dink comes at her, she's still able to speed up because she has time.
She has extra time.
Something we also talk about in camps is that you can give up court position to be more aggressive, and as we just saw there, AL is giving up court position on a push dink. And
she's kind of the master at that, right?
Still able to find the apex and beat me up the line, dang it.
There's not one way to play, for sure.
Can I make myself useful? Okay. Scary. Benny's he's playing a pretty large piece of the court. Okay, pull me out of position, keep me honest.
This is the one here.
So this is what kind of starts everything. I've seen this in men's, I've seen this in mixed, I've seen this for the last couple of years now, for gosh sakes. But it's so you try to dink so whether it's AL or it's Collin, but you dink to their inside foot, and here comes Benny, and then that dink from that location is so aggressive, and he's so consistent now with hitting push dinks from the center of the court, and whether it's inside out or it's back cross, and as we've seen and as we've mentioned in the last couple of boiler rooms, talking about the men's finals, if you're not willing to speed up line against him, he will continue taking over court. He will continue playing middle, and it just seems like obviously Lolo didn't speed up line enough, but probably highly due to them dinking so aggressively and really not giving us an option to speed up lines.
Yeah,
it's
the
tough.
ball's not sitting up.
No.
It's a dicey.
Talk about a guy who
speed up.
dinks aggressively middle, takes a lot of court, but doesn't really give you any height on his dink, so it's tough to keep him on his line. If you have an answer, call me.
It just seems like, he's willing to take a lot more risk, even just on his dinks early on. You guys are in that fight for control, right? Because once you get control of the point, you win such a high percentage. So it's very different than trying to just outlast or keep your errors down. There's some.
There we go, Lo.
Look
Come
out,
on.
Look out.
Oh, stop.
Should make that.
Stop. AL. Stop. Quit doing things like that. It was very good. I was nowhere to be found. Around. Second guess herself.
She was even off balance.
No, I mean,
she hit it
she's
perfect.
like, look how tight this window is. Come on, if the camera angle was just a little wider, watch this stuff. Boom. Oh, that's tight.
Yeah, that's not far
it's
from
tight.
the pole.
No, it's very tight. I'm just watching to see how pretty.
You're
that
just
thing
an
is.
admirer.
I mean,
You're
gosh,
a fan.
hey, take a seat, get some popcorn, take a seat.
Let's watch this one again.
Last one here. Okay, trying to push Benny back. Yeah, they definitely won this point. I do remember this, and I feel very deflated.
That's kind of unlucky.
I was very deflated after losing this point. Oh, he missed it. Oh, he missed it. Never mind.
All right.
Never mind.
So tell us what's going through your mind when you decide to throw the lob up here. Like, what are you thinking? What are you trying to do?
Well, it's a little desperation.
Okay.
So we're down. We got rolled game one. Game one, we'd hit a lot of returns to Anna Lee. Game two, we're hitting a lot of returns to Benny. But inside foot first, Take my fourth ball to her inside foot. Obviously, she starts closing in.
Right. Safer to go deeper to Ben.
Safer to go deeper to Ben.
He just floats this one.
She obviously...
She retreats.
Yeah, she buys herself a little time here.
Which, look, she needed to do because Tyson saw his target. She was able to fight that one off. And, you know, sometimes just even getting it back uglier keeps it going.
Yeah.
Gets it in the kitchen.
This is the ultimate Newman way here, okay? Defense is good offense. Take some time, and you can play good defense if you pop the ball up by getting your ass in the green. Scoop back. You have more time than you think. Courts are made this big to bang ground strokes, to hit Ferrari forehands, and to play sick defense, right?
Love it.
So use the stinking court. Benny, get off the tape master. Okay. Bzz. Okay, we see Ben coming up here. I see. Obviously, Ben took a ding from the outside quadrant. He's sliding middle.
Getting you moving. I saw where he was standing. Yeah.
Yeah, I really hadn't lobbed yet. Looks like he missed that high volley. I'll gladly take it.
Barely overcooked.
I'll gladly take it. Take that.
Well, it's like we were talking about earlier. Obviously, you ended up losing the match, but, you know, it wasn't going your way. Losing a wide variety of ways, right? That's
Don't go home in your car thinking, oh my gosh, I lost the same weight today.
Try some new stuff. You know, but I mean, honestly, I know we're joking around about it, but sometimes just one creative shot is just enough to get the belief going.
And you can latch onto it. Yeah, for sure.
Just change up the patterns. Try to find that honey hole, as Sperling would say.
Find that honey hole. Watch the story, okay? They're always telling stories.
What is the story telling you? I love it.
K-Mac, talk to us. Any last notes here for the fans or campers watching or any of that?
Yeah. I think you just always, you know, I guess what I would say is, you know, we've watched you, Ben, and Elite, like all these elite players. They've been great for a long time, but everybody's adding pieces. Everybody's getting better. They're not the exact same player they were a couple of years ago. So just, it's a journey, you know, love the journey, love the drilling, you know, enjoy making, you know, subtle changes. You'll still probably have your same identity as a player, but, you know, getting better doesn't end. It never ends, right? So be willing to add pieces, pay attention to how the game's changing. You might find a style or a tempo that makes sense for your skill set, like we were talking about earlier with, you know, counter punchers, recognizing they can initiate a little bit more. So we've seen a lot of changes among the top guys, and we're going to continue to do so. Coming from the man. If you guys want to get K-Mac, if you guys want a piece of that, get over to TysonMcGuffin.com and sign up for one of his camps. This guy is he's doing 15 this year, leading about 15. Yeah, leading 15 this year, and obviously he's my assistant in most of mine. But I appreciate all the subscribers. I appreciate all the support. Love you guys. My name is Tyson McGuffin. This is the McGuffin Show, episode 33. We'll see you guys in 34. All right, see you guys.